I found this note taped on my door this morning. Uh, um, uh, for those of you who've watched my videos, you may not know this, but I live in a rooming house. And basically, it's just a big building where everybody has their own room. And in the room, you have a bed and some furniture, and they will even provide a desk and a chair and a refrigerator. And then you share common areas. Like there's 18 people that live here, and we share 2 kitchens and 3 bathrooms. So I've lived here for 3.5 years. And during that time, the majority of the people here don't clean, even though it's written into their lease that you're required to clean. So for 3.5 years, I pretty much cleaned the building without pay. And the gentleman that wrote this note used to be the housekeeper here. And he up and quit last year. And I have continued to clean without pay. I don't get paid. I use a ton of different cleaning supplies. I use 409. I use Fabioso. I think that's what it's called. I use Simple Green. I've used Windex. We have had air fresheners in the bathrooms. We've had, Febreze spray air fresheners in the bathrooms. Many of these things I have started to buy with my own money because the owner and manager of the building, when the new manager took over, they quit buying cleaning supplies. So I have spent my money, and I only make minimum wage, or not. I'm on Social Security. I have gone and out of my own pocket have bought cleaning supplies, and I continue to keep the 2 bathrooms and the 3 kitchens clean. And I do that because this is my home, and when I use the kitchen and use the bathroom, I want them clean. And we've got 18 people here, and most of them don't clean. So I decided, it was a month ago, to buy the Febreze plug-in air fresheners because of the smell in the hallway. So you have to understand there's like no ventilation system in this building. The building was built in 1955. And the smells in here, when people go out and smoke, they come in and smell. You can smell the cigarette smoke. You can also smell those people that smoke marijuana. So they will go out back and smoke marijuana. It's legal in Alaska. But when they come in, they stink of marijuana. We do have people who live here who don't bathe. So many of these are people that are in their 50s and 60s, and for whatever reason, they don't bathe. And it smells really bad. On top of that, there is a mold problem, and you can smell it when it gets warm. There's mold, and the hallway just stinks. And there's one area, small area, where the smell is so bad. It's a small kitchen area. There's 4 rooms adjoining that and a bathroom. 2 of the people that live next to that kitchen area literally do not bathe. The smell is so bad. So in all the 3 years I've been here, nobody has ever complained about the type of cleaners that I've used. No one. And many of these are cleaners or things that the gentleman who wrote this note bought me. He bought me the 409. He bought me another cleaner. Anyway, I went and bought some Febreze plug-in air fresheners. I don't know if you know anything, and they're the type that you can adjust the volume, the smell. And I put out 3. I put one in the small area where I'm talking about, where the smell is just horrible. You can smell body odor. You can literally smell one gentleman. You can smell the urine. There's one lady, she smells so bad. I don't know how often she doesn't bathe, but when she comes out of her room, the whole area just reeks. And when she walks down the hallway, you can smell her. That's how bad it is. And I put one there. It's a plug-in that you plug into the wall. And then I did put one in the hallway. So the hallway isn't that, long. I just put one in the hallway. And then I put one in the small area that's off the main hallway where this gentleman, me, and 2 other people reside. And the plug-in just happens to be next to his room. Although I never asked if I could do this, the manager is in a different building. And I'm not going to get into a lot of that, but the manager we had is gone, and people have kind of taken it upon themselves to buy supplies that used to be provided, and we've just kind of been doing things on our own. Anyway, I came out of my room yesterday evening, and I noticed that the air freshener in the hallway was gone, and this gentleman who left me the note was walking toward me, and I said, "Who took the air freshener?" And he said, "I wondered what that was." And I said, "Well, I bought it. I put it out there." And I said, "I put one there and one in the other kitchen, and I put one," and I went over and pointed by his door, and I said, "I put one here. They're Febreze air fresheners. I bought them." And he said, "Well, I smelled that, and I thought it was kind of strong." And I said, well, it is what it is. That's fine. Anyway, after he went into his room and I came into mine, I went out and I took the air freshener by his room because he had said it was kind of strong. He didn't like the smell, which was fine. I removed it, and I also went and removed the one from basically I removed the other 2 air fresheners because Jonathan had said he felt the smell was strong. This is Febreze air freshener, okay? And it actually smelled wonderful. For the first time, I didn't smell all the smells that are in this building. It smelled fresh and clean, and this is a person I've never had any problems with, and I find this note taped. I got angry and crumpled it up. And it says here, "Pains me to give you difficult feedback. The imitation watermelon smell is pervading my space." Now, this was not a watermelon smell. I don't know where he got watermelon smell from. It's the fresh Febreze smell. Okay, it might be a coincidence, but my nose has been running ever since I began to smell the smell. I may not be the only resident who finds the odor challenging and unpleasant. Understanding your excellent attention. Well, here's the thing. We live in the same building. And when I ran into Jonathan in the hallway and he mentioned to me the smell was rather strong, or he felt it was strong, and it bothered him, I removed them because he told me it bothered him. So this note I found this morning was way after I had spoken to him. I ran into him in the hallway. I told him I had bought them. I had put them out. Now, you have to understand, I'm the one that's been cleaning the building. Not him, not anyone else. I'm the one that's been buying the supplies. Nobody has said, "I don't like any of the smells or odors of the chemicals and things you've been using." We've had Febreze air freshener in the can that we spray after we've been in the bathroom, and that's all okay. But suddenly I put up these plug-in air fresheners, and he's offended. He's irritated. And what I think he got upset about is this, what he said, it was pervading his space. So in the little area that we live, the only plug-in in that area is right next to his door. So in the room that I live in, there's a gentleman who lives next to me that's a hoarder. And when I walk by his room, it smells like a trash dump. The smell is noxious. It's horrible. I remember the last time they came up here, this was like a year ago, they were coming up to inspect the rooms. He started hauling out bag after bag after bag of trash. There's another lady who lives across from me who's also a hoarder. And her hoarding has gotten so bad that it's spilled out into the hallway around her room. And she's also gone over to another area of the building where she has started putting her stuff there. And the hoard is so bad in her room that when she opens her door, she can barely open her door. And what I can see is the floor is covered, and I can see the walls are starting to be covered halfway up the wall. So two of the people in my area are hoarders. And Jonathan has also started to pour things out into the hallway. So the 3 residents down here by me are starting to do what you see of people that hoard in a home. Their hoard is coming out into the hallway. And I decided, because of the smell in the hallway that is pretty overwhelming, to put up some air fresheners, and he got offended by it. Now, granted, I understand that maybe what I used was something that he didn't want to smell. That's fine, and he mentioned to me that it was strong, and I removed them. I removed them all out of the hallway and bathrooms. I removed all of them. And then he leaves this note. So, I've lived here for 3.5 years. I've never had a problem with this gentleman. We've gotten along well. He was the housekeeper in the building. And then when I came in here, I found out he only got paid for 5 hours a week. And the place wasn't that clean. And I started cleaning. And there's 3 bathrooms and 2 kitchens. And I just would get up every day and I clean, because this is my home too. He wanted to give me money, and I said, no, don't give me money. I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this because I want to live in a clean environment. To me, it's shows respect for myself, number 1. Number 2, it shows respect for the people you live with. So, and it really didn't bother me that these people just aren't that aware. And what happened was, when I quit cleaning, or when I started cleaning, he just kind of quit. So this man was getting paid to clean the building, but I was doing the cleaning, and he just kind of let me do it. The manager told him he could hire anybody he wanted to help, but I wasn't getting paid, and I didn't ask to get paid. And there were times he offered me money to, and I said, no, I don't want money. That's not why I'm doing this. I don't want money. He goes to Costco's. He's a vegetarian. And whenever he goes, he comes back with like fresh produce and eggs and cheese and butter. And he actually leaves me a bag of food once a month. And I've always thanked him. I've offered to give him money. And he said, no, don't give me any money. I can't tell you how much I appreciate all that you've done. You've come in, you've helped out. Nobody else has ever done what you're doing. I just really appreciate that. And I've been told by several other people here how much they appreciate it. And it's not that big of a deal. But it takes more than, I found out that when he took the position here, the owner only gives him 5 hours a week of work. That's it. And this, basically, it would take about 2.5, 3 hours a day just to clean this floor. And this floor has 2 floors. So up here, I would clean the 3 bathrooms every day and the 2 kitchens, and take out the trash. And it would take me about 2 hours every day. So 5 hours a week, that's all he was getting paid for. And then come to find out that not only that's all he was getting paid, but he also had to still pay his rent. And at the time, he didn't have a job. That's all he had. And he later ended up getting a job and then quitting the position. And I just continue to do that. They did hire a lady who comes in, but she doesn't do any cleaning. She comes in and vacuums and leaves. So I've still been helping out. And so because of the smells in the hallways, I put out these air fresheners. But as soon as he told me this offended him, he didn't like the smell, I removed them all. As soon as he went in his room, I went out and removed them all because he said they were kind of strong. He didn't like them. And then he put this note on my door. And I'm pretty angry right now. Because number one, he does have my personal phone number. He's the only one in this building that has my phone number. He could text me. He's also right next door. He could knock on my door and talk to me. But after I removed them, when he told me he didn't like the smell, and after I removed them, he comes out and puts a note on my door and telling me that he had to give me difficult feedback and that, basically it was pervading his space. So I'm sorry. I don't usually vent, but this really made me angry, and I'm going to try to stay out of his way. He works. I probably won't see him much, but I never had a problem with this gentleman. This is the first time, and it maybe the type of air freshener I put out was something that he just didn't like the smell, but it wasn't a watermelon air freshener. It was the Febreze, the regular, just the normal Febreze. The one that's a very clean scent, and he didn't like it. Even though we have cans of air freshener in the bathroom, that it's the very same air freshener that we spray in the air. This was just a plug-in. So what I'm thinking is that maybe when he said pervading my space, it was because it was a plug-in right next to his door. The problem is you couldn't smell it until you walked out in the hallway. You couldn't smell it. You only smelled it when you walked out in the hallway because the doors on our room are actually not wooden doors. They're metal doors. And you can't smell any odors out in the hallway until you get out in the hallway. So, anyway, I just had to vent.